Hello, my name is Justin Bright, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program version 1.10.1 in my next small step RP-1 career mode playthrough. And we are back to it. We have a whole bunch of stuff that is coming up pretty darn shortly. I've got a lot of missions kind of in the hopper, ready to get rolling as we start building stuff. One of those things is getting the vehicle assembly building done in about 23 days, which I'm really excited about having the third assembly line, because there's just a lot of little missions that I'm trying to do, little things that I'm trying to build up, and also I'd like to, spend a little bit of this money. Although, actually, now that I think about it, I think I will spend a little. Yeah, so I just spent about 1 million funds on upgrade points because I would really like to get a bit more science. So I'm going to just spend, I don't know, maybe half-ish. There, 50 points on science sounds lovely. Because I would like things to be, keeping up a little bit. So let's, yeah, 65. Yeah, that's fine. 765, that seems to be a place to stop for now. We're going to spend the rest of this and probably some more money on the vehicle assembly building rate 3 once that is unlocked. Yeah, so we've got tech that is coming, and you see that the reason why it's not so important to spend that many points on this stuff these days is it's that didn't make a huge difference, but every little bit helps because we have a lot of technology still yet to go. So one thing I want to talk about is the results of the poll that I gave you guys for whether or not I should hyper-edit over the my Venus rover over to the Sun so that I could actually accomplish this mission, because I did land dramatically off target because of a weird thing with the with what do you call it, the gas gauge. Basically, like it said I would have 1500 meters per second remaining after my maneuver. Instead it ran me out before I even finished it, so I ended up crashing the orbiter and just putting down the rover wherever, which was down here as opposed to up there. So unfortunately you guys voted almost evenly, so there was a pretty close to equal number of people who said go ahead and hyper-edit it, as people who said please just let the rover die and launch another mission because I like watching rocket launches. Which, that is a perfectly valid thing, and the fact that it's so even it kills me a little bit, because it's not like everybody is thinking one way and then just one or two people are the outliers. It's pretty evenly split. So, and I was pretty evenly split too, which is why I asked. I would not have asked if I had a very strong opinion about it. But so yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I am going to let the rover die. The reason I have behind that is the contract. At least one person said that if I have time on the contract to launch this again, that I should just launch again. And I think that is a very fair perspective, and I do have time. So we have about 1,300 days of time on the deadline, so we should be able to launch again, and then I'll get another probe. I'll basically launch the same mission, probably tweak it quite a bit to make that work a little bit better after everything that we've learned. But we're gonna make it work a little bit better, and then I will just launch it again, and we should have plenty of time. That's it. That's kind of the fate of the Caustic Solarback. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let it do science until it dies, basically. I'm going to just turn on all the science that I can, and then I'm going to log off of it, and then we're just going to, accept its fate, because that's kind of how it goes. Maybe eventually, actually, I wonder, well, no, never mind. It's going to be so long before the Sun actually gets to it that I wonder if it won't, the other one won't be there already, because what we have is we have a transfer window to Venus in about a year, almost exactly a year from now. So that's when I'll be able to launch again, and then give or take a couple months. So yeah, it actually might be that this gets power before then, but that would require me to kind of check. Oh, the solar panel's broken. Oh, okay. All right. That that actually settles it more than anything else. I didn't realize that this had completely broken while it was in there, because it did bounce a bunch against the top of the aeroshell. So that actually, yeah, we have a fractured solar panel. The circuitry is probably not working properly, and that means that this was never going to be able to recharge the batteries on here again. So that whole discussion was kind of a moot point. We do not actually have solar power anyways, and so I think it is perfectly reasonable for this rover to just die, and then we will come back with another mission out here to try again sometime in the near future. So let's go ahead and just start up all the science. There we go. We're just starting up the science, and I'm just going to turn this off in the config. Even turn off the show vessel because it's going to be dead here in a minute. We have 3 days worth of power, and it'll transmit up what it can as it can, and then that's all there is to it. And ignition. Listen to that awesome spool up of the big LR-87 booster. I love it. Love the sound. Love the look of that. And we have liftoff of our ComSat X satellite, which is going to be delivering X-band communications into low Earth orbit. As awesome as this is, I don't think we need to watch the whole thing go up. Although this is pretty damn cool. But yeah, we'll be getting this up into orbit and doing the geosynchronous dance, so I will see you up there. And we have nothing. What do we have? What's going on here? Oh, my staging got messed up. Oh no! Oh! You okay? Oh my gosh. We are super not okay. Okay, I'm a little concerned about that, but I think we're all right. I did mix my staging up a little bit, but other than that, I think we are okay and just about in low Earth orbit. Just a couple more seconds as the big Agena gets us into our orbit where we want to be. There we go. Looking good. Fabulous. Okay. So now that we are here, let's go ahead and try to fix our staging a bit. Or not. This doesn't want me to do anything with my staging whatsoever. At least not on those. Alright, coming up on our second of 3 burns, we have ignited the Agena engine, and we are pushing on towards our apogee of 53,621 kilometers, which is going to put us in a resonant orbit above geosynchronous that we can drop off these satellites. And you can see that I've used the stock payload fairing so that I can get those lovely interstage nodes, which we can use to keep our big, tall, stupid antennas on here. This is the antenna with the widest field of view for X-band communications that I could find, short of like an Omni antenna. So I'm hopeful that these are going to actually work and be able to get signal, because I think I underestimate just how narrow these cones get, especially as you get to higher and higher levels. I'm used to S-band, like at geostationary, just covering the entire globe, but that is not the case with X-band necessarily. So we will be seeing how this one works and hoping that it is better. All right, that burn is complete. Now let's go ahead and do the other thing, which is inclination 0, perigee. Oh, actually, before I do this, let's just make sure that we are where we want to be, because we want to be at 53621, so I'm a little off. Okay, close enough. 5361, which is fine. That's within tolerances, I think. Right, so we're just set up that node inclination first, and then circularize, and then go ahead and merge those two nodes, check our work, and that looks fabulous. All right, as we get up to our apogee, it is time for me to double check and see if we've failed out entirely, or if this is going to work out okay. So I'm just activating these antennas to make sure that they are all on. I've got everything else kind of turned off on here, just ready to go, because I just want to make sure that we are all set before I do anything else with this, because this is not going to have the battery power to actually survive until this thing is done. Dropping off the satellites. So I need to make sure that it's going to be all set and everything is in the right place, in the right direction, and all of that. Okay, so 35793 is what I'm looking for. So let's go ahead and point ourselves retrograde, which is also good because that's the direction we want to drop off our satellites. But let's take a look. All right, so that looks better. That looks like we have enough of a cone that is going to actually just barely encompass the Earth and get a good connection through X-band communications. You can see thing is having just so much trouble. Max transmission rate is 148 kilobits per second, which is that what I was? Is that what I wanted? Is that what I was hoping for? We should be able to get better than this, one would think. 1.19 megabits per second, but this says a tenth of that. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because it's so in the like outer circle, like it's in between this inner circle and the outer circle, and I think that's reducing our transmission quality, which is really not great. I was really hoping that this would work better, but yeah, I see it looks like I barely have the cone on the planet at all, let alone having it directly underneath. So I guess we're just gonna have to see how this works and if we get good transmission. Okay, so 35831, we want to be at 793. Full rotation. 7929 is just fine, so that will work. Like I said, I have these just kind of turned off at the moment. Like I have all of their fuel capabilities locked down so that it doesn't get eaten up by the main bus here, because like I said, the main bus is just going to die. Well, actually, it can shut itself down. I didn't realize. And it's somehow getting a little bit of electricity on the solar panels underneath, even though it's going through these little plates here. So, okay, never mind. This thing is going to live just fine. But we will be able to drop off one on each of our passes here through our perigee. So let's go ahead and set up that timer. All right, so we are just about there. And the only thing I have to do now, because I've accidentally staged all this stuff, is decouple. And so this has popped off. I just need to turn on all this stuff. And there we go. We have just 427 meters per second of delta V, which is plenty. Activate the avionics, and away we go. Looks like I do need to point around the other direction. That thing really kind of whips around. I hope this thing is balanced enough to actually do what I need it to do. So anyways, here we go. We are 3 minutes away from our perigee, so let's just... circularize at our perigee, create, and execute. And while we do that, we can rename this to ComSat X-1, and it's a relay. Perfect. Go and activate engine. Beautiful. Oh, look how cool that is. Ah, this is just one of the generic thrusters that is blowing Aerozine and NTO, but man, that looks so good. Waterfall is such a cool mod. Man, like I love Real Plume. Like Real Plume is so gorgeous, but this is just this feels so cool. Like I don't want to disparage the work of the wonderful work that the Real Plume folks have done, but dang. So 35793, we are looking for an orbital period of, cells pointed properly here, 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4.1 seconds. All right, 23, 56, 4.15 is how we're going to do it. Although, unfortunately, I do need to swing around to point down towards the sun. Point up towards the sun. And then I'll readjust our orbital period one more time, now that we actually have solar power. All right, gorgeous. Yeah, so we just have these nice little hexagonal panels on the back here that are getting plenty of good exposure, 100% exposure, which should give us tons and tons of power for a good long time, for years on end. So yeah, there we go. 23, 56, 40, and 4.1 is what I'm looking for. Okay, 23, 56, 4.05 is gonna have to do. Our inclination is 0.084. So I'm just writing all this down. All right, time to do this 2 more times. All right, so here is the last one. We're going to remove that, and I have made this into debris, as you can see here. Then when I come to this, I can bonk, activate the avionics, and then get out of... Well, all right then. This thing, I guess I didn't plan this well enough, because this is just off of the DSN that I was going to be connected to is just slightly off of its capability here. So I only get 2 satellites, I guess. Yeah, I'm really not sure what to do about that. So I guess just circularize at my perigee and hope for the best. I mean, I really don't know what else to do here. Because with no signal and with no ability to get signal, because we are going to be rotating at roughly the same speed as the Earth rotates, so we're not going to be changing what face of the Earth we are seeing, which means we are not going to see any different satellites at any point. Yeah, so that's crummy. This is, I mean, it's my fault entirely, because I did not expect. This is what I was talking about. Like when I was playing with this a little bit before, I noticed that the cone was incredibly narrow. So I went back and I picked the best possible, or the widest possible field of view dish that I had. But apparently that wasn't enough, because I didn't plan my location quite right. Because I should have done this in a way where each of these was a little bit more centered, but I just did like the first available because I just assumed that it would be fine because it was with my S-band network. So yeah, that's that, and it doesn't look like I can like bounce my signal from one to the next. From one of these relays to the next relay, so I'm just kind of out of luck, I think, for this entire network, to be honest. But whatever, I guess. Maybe I'll have to do another one, but gosh, that's pretty obnoxious. But that said, we are going to call that a partial success because we do have 2 satellites that are working properly and do have good connection with their ground stations. So hopefully that will go at least a little bit of a better way towards allowing our Viz-Alt-2 satellite to downlink its science. All right, there it is. As we have all this science coming in, I am excited to inform you that we have the fully upgraded vehicle assembly building all set and rolling. We have completed all of our building projects, and I think that's just about all of the building projects, other than keeping up with the tracking station as we get more communications upgrades. We've got research and development maxed out. We've got vehicle assembly building maxed out. There's no longer a differentiation between spaceplane and vehicle assembly building, so that's all done. Mission control's done. Astronaut complex is done. Admin building is not necessary, and we sure as heck aren't doing anything else on the runway. So we are done with our vehicle upgrades. Our facility upgrades. So that means that all we have left is paying for tooling, paying for like actual rocket launches, and buying some KCT upgrade points. So we have 70 now, just from what a couple extra leftovers that we bought before, and also what we had from our upgrades from science, and we've had more and more science coming in. So it's time to upgrade this pretty darn quickly. So let's boop. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, and you can see that goes up pretty quickly. It's not twice as fast, but it's like 3 times as fast as the base amount, it looks like. Because you get 0.023 per for the base, and then 0.045, and then 0.067. So something like triple the amount of points for. So it's really good bang for your buck. And now I can actually get 3 things building fairly quickly. So you see we have like 12.5 build points per second, and then 10.7, and then now a little bit less than 5. So that means that I can build 3 things, and I can put something rough pretty easy on the 3rd. 149 days, that's Mars Earth transfer. When's my Mars transfer? 126 days. So yeah, get that started now. I think that should be all right. Apollo 6 we are rolling out pretty quick. Viz-Alt-2, yeah. So it's going to be more important than ever for me to keep things building at all times. 2 big things that I can work on at once, and then 1 little thing. So I'll basically always have a one of those like ComSat contracts going to keep the money rolling in, because I can actually spend a little bit of money right now. Will bring us down to about, I don't know, 3 million, 2.5. There we go. That seems fine. 75 more points, so that I can drop a bunch into here, a couple into our big one there. There we go. So yeah, now we're at almost 13, almost 11, and 8.5 is where our build rates are, and that puts us at a total of having spent 934 points in the vehicle assembly building, 765 in research and development. We are 1977, so this is definitely not where we want to be as far as getting these things moving, but that's not so bad. Although that reminds me, we are pretty close to the Voyager 2 launch date, so let's make sure we have that in the hopper. Oh wait, I'm waiting for one last science thing, I think. Alright, so this is going to take us about 30 days to build at our max speed, which is good, because we're going to need that. Because the launch date is coming right up on us, and we're going to want to build 2 of these. However, our technology is not there yet. I want the latest and greatest technology, and the best I can do is wait until exploration era science is done, and then I can crank out 2 of these at once with our crazy good build rate. Yes! So that's my plan there. But that, I think, is going to have to do it for us today. We've got a lot more to come, a lot of missions that we're trying to get through, and man, when we finally get some time to just like time warp and build, we are really going to get cranking through some of this stuff, make all of our reputation and funds back, and we'll be well on our way towards Mars. If you enjoyed this episode, please let me know what you think down in the comments below, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.